There we go. Awesome. It says you are live, Shannon.
All right.
Hey, man. Thank you for coming and joining us
Yep.
tonight. I'm fired up about this. My name is Tyler Mulvaney. I'm the executive director here at Oil Belt Christian Service Camp. I got my good friend, my pastor, my preacher, Shannon Bopp here. I've known Shannon for a long time. He serves Evergreen Christian Church in Salem as senior minister.
I guess so, yeah.
You got a cool
Senior.
title?
That's it.
Okay,
That's
good
all
deal.
I got.
Hey, we're live, so it's going. Good deal. And recently, what you're going to talk with us tonight is about, he started a mission with another preacher in Kimmundy named Josh Conley.
Yep.
And this mission is called Broken Chains Outreach. And so tonight, we're just so glad that you joined us. We're going to talk about how they are serving in Costa Rica in a lot of ways. So, yeah, we'll get started. I know people are jumping on. I see the numbers bouncing right now. So, Shannon, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay.
And
Yep, my name's Shannon Bopp, and like Tyler said, we've known each other for a long time, and I really appreciate this opportunity this evening. Thanks so much for inviting us in. And we got involved some mission work down in Costa Rica about 5-6 years ago, and that's been growing and going very well. And I'm so thankful tonight just to get a little bit more, a little bit more PR out there, just so people know what we're doing. And it's a topic that's very dear to my heart because we're involved in human trafficking rescue with another group down there called Face of Justice, and it's kind of a hot topic right now.
It sure is.
It's grown over the last few years, as you know, radio has been talking more. If you watch Christian radio, it's made it more aware to the public, but also just in recent news, there's a lot more going on with trafficking and just the horror of how people are being treated, through this.
Yeah. So that's why I called you a few weeks ago. There has just been so much in our culture the last few weeks, and I've talked with a lot of people, and we're just saying, what can we do? How can we get involved? Is there really even any option? And from you serving here at camp with your mission, I was like, there is. And a lot of people hadn't heard of you guys. And I thought, man, we just have so many people that don't know about what you guys do. And if they did, to see ways that they could get involved would be huge.
Yeah.
So
well, let me tell you a little bit about how we got started.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we went on a church conference probably 15 years ago. And at that conference, it's the first time I'd heard of trafficking. And the lady that was speaking started talking about children that were being trafficked all over the world as young as 8-9 years of age. And by the way, the average age is 12 years old. And that was about the age my daughters were at that time. So it really hit home with me that, girls were being treated this way and abused in this way. And I literally had tears running down my face, as I were listening to all these different stories. And I really felt God at that time just say, you got to do something about this. And that's what started this whole journey. And fast forward a few years, I walked into Josh Conley's office there at Kimmundy, and we were starting a friendship. And I was telling him about what I was doing and what I had on my heart. And he just jumped right in. He said, I'm in, as long as we, if you know Josh.
I know Josh. Josh goes, let's go today.
He's just ready to go right now. And that's exactly what we did. He said, I'm in as long as we use the local church, which makes us very unique. A lot of missions they're Christian organizations, but they don't necessarily use the local church. And we were very, that was our heart to do that. So we jumped on a plane and went down to Costa Rica, had a missionary friend down there at the time, Sean Splector. And Sean was our guide for several trips as going down. We really appreciated that. And our prayer was, God, when we're at the place you want us to serve, let us know. And we both fell in love with a place called Pecora. And in Pecora, just to tell you a little bit about what Broken Chains does in a nutshell, we have two parts that we do. One is we have a feeding center, which we call a kids club for children in poverty. And we feed them a rice meal. Right now it's once a week. And this was right next to our church building. We have actually started, Broken Chains has a Christian church down there on this property. So we don't want to just feed the kids a rice meal. We want to give them the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So when they come in, not only do they get the meal, they get a Bible lesson, they get the worship time, they get the games and the crafts, and they get to be around. We've got some unbelievable people in this church. It's incredible.
How often do you do that?
It's once a week.
It's once a week.
Yeah, once a week right now. Our goal's every day, but right now what we have is once a week. And there's some incredible. Our pastor, we have new pastors that him and his wife are incredible. We've got a couple of college-age girls that any church around here would die for. It's just unbelievable how God put all this together. So they run the program for us. Ladies in the church do all the cooking, and the girls run the program, do the worship with the kids, do the Bible lessons. And that's a really neat program. So we do that. And then also we partner with Face of Justice, who is the only human trafficking Christian organization in Costa Rica.
Yeah, let's say that again. We partner
with Face of Justice.
Yeah.
And they're the only human trafficking organization, Christian organization that's in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And what we do is we raise money for them to help pay for the safe house. Yeah. And right now they have 18 girls in the safe house that they're rescuing right now. And it's all based around the hope of Jesus Christ. When you go down in the safe house, you're going to hear worship songs, and they're getting Bible lessons there as well. And there's a lot of care there. So they have counselors, they have house moms, they have people that come in and out as just good, strong Christian mentors that are caring for these girls that have been really, really abused in some horrific ways. To hear their stories will just absolutely break your heart. And they've been rescued out of this. And just recently, a huge success story for us is 9 of the girls were baptized that were in the safe house this year. And we can't show that video. We protect their privacy, so we don't show that. But if I could ever come out to some of the churches that are listening and show that to the churches, individually, I can do that. And would love to come and share our work that we're doing down there.
Yeah. Yeah. So to catch up, for if anybody didn't get all that, so Broken Chains Outreach, you guys have been around since 2015.
Yeah.
You got 3 main programs that you guys do in Costa Rica. Face of Justice, which is what we're going to talk a lot about here in just a little bit, about how you are rescuing girls, providing a safe house. Number 2 is your kids club, which is a feeding center. And you guys kind of, I'd compare it to a VBS. Is that?
It really is. Yeah.
Or a youth group.
It's got that feel to it. And really it does have a lot of feel to our youth groups around here.
Yeah.
That the kids come to.
And then you guys are, of course, working with the local church and planning the church and telling people about Jesus in Pecora.
Yeah. In Pecora. Yeah. And a lot of that goes together, Tyler, because one of the ideas of our kids club is to actually prevent trafficking from ever happening. Because in Costa Rica, a lot of trafficking starts with single moms that just out of poverty will sell their own daughters for $2, $3, $4. And if they had the meal, if they had the means, of course they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So our kids club is designed to share the gospel, but also we're in hopes too that it's going to prevent young girls from ever being trafficked.
So Costa Rica, where you guys are working, third world country? I mean, how is that?
They actually don't claim third world status. I mean, when you go there, you'll see the dirt floors with the tin shack buildings. A lot of Nicaraguans actually come down and have squatter villages in Costa Rica, but they don't claim third world status. But it is a lot of poverty that you're going to see in a third world. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Okay. So before we jump too much more into the human trafficking part and the Face of Justice, you mentioned about getting involved with Broken Chains. Just how do you get information about what you're doing? You talked about coming out, visiting churches, raising awareness, of course, donations, which we'll talk more about that as well.
Yeah.
But how do people get involved with Broken Chains?
Yeah. The initial response to that would be our brokenchainscostarica.org is our website. So you can jump on there and get more information and see that. But other ways that you can get involved is we do short-term mission trips. We were actually supposed to take a high school group from Oil Belt this summer, but unfortunately got canceled. Excuse me. We also had Christ Rock High School. Their Spanish class was going this summer with us. We have a group possibly going in December if the borders open back up. But you can go on a short-term mission trip with us. You can also get involved here if you don't want to go on the mission trip. We do a lot of fundraising for our programs down there. So if people want to get involved in that way and say, hey, I want to do more than just, give financially, I want to get hands-on, we got ways that people can do that.
Yeah. That's one of the things I really love about your mission is there's a lot of ways to get involved. You can be hands-on if you want. You can give financially. You can send stuff. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of different things about it. And the big thing you guys do that I love is you're raising leaders there. You know, we're not sending teams. There's not a bunch of Americans there. It's you're helping them reach their friends, their community, and just supplying that need. And that's, from what I've heard of missions, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and that's really our goal is we want to raise up, the people there because they know their culture, the people know them there, and it's just a much more effective way. So that's definitely a goal. Going back a little bit on what we talked about there about getting involved, I mentioned this to you yesterday. The neat thing about our mission is Costa Rica is only about a 4.5 hour plane, flight down. Fairly inexpensive. So for about $1,100, you can go on a mission trip, which covers your plane, your food, your stay, your absolute everything. And then you can go, to the safe house and spend a little. They don't let people down there for a long period of time, but if it's the right timing, they'll let people go down. You can paint their nails and make necklaces with them and spend a little time with them. And you can actually interact with the girls that you're, that you're actually helping, or giving financially too. So it's neat in that way. And also we show a lot of different cultural experience because you'll jump out, our feeding centers in rural Costa Rica.
Okay.
So the safe house is in San Jose and in the city. Then we'll jump out in the rural area, which is a whole other experience to get involved in. Then we take people down into the inner city, very close to the red light district. And then your eyes are really opened up to, just the hopelessness that's out there.
Yeah. I'm excited to dive into that because I do want to change to the human trafficking part now because you're mentioning just the difference from talking with you, from talking to several people from our area who have been on trips with you guys over the last few years. There is just the cultural difference you have, but the inner city versus Pecora, it's just like two different worlds almost. It's incredible to hear.
Yeah, it is.
This is incredible to hear. But let's jump to human trafficking. That's why a lot of people are listening tonight. So for Costa Rica, that's what we're going to talk mostly about is what you guys are doing there. What have you seen? I know we talked about San Jose a lot, but Face of Justice is there. What have you seen of human trafficking, and how are you guys getting involved to fight that?
Yeah. Well, it's a huge need. And just to throw a few things out there, what we've seen is the largest well-known brothel in the world is in San Jose, Costa Rica. So in the brothels where they keep the underage girls. And prostitution is actually legal in Costa Rica. So 18 and above, the cops, number one, it's not legal, but if you'll get down to 16, 17-year-olds, the cops usually will turn their head because they're close enough to age. But then the younger girls will be hid back inside the hotels. So you'll see a lot of that. There's actually a lot of, that we've all heard the stories of, the girl going that works for a pimp, and she'll go to the Nicaraguan border and say, hey, I've got, a better job for you, the restaurant or whatever it is. And that sounds great because she has absolutely nothing. So she goes with this girl and then gets there and, she's away from her environment, her family, she has nothing around her. And then she's forced into a lifestyle that she didn't see coming. So you see that, but then also in Costa Rica, a huge problem is exploitation, where, as I mentioned a while ago, moms are selling their own daughters. So you'll go into the coastal towns and there'll be thousands and thousands of girls that this is affecting. And, it's based out of poverty in this case, but a mom will sell her own daughter for $2 or $3 or $4, and, this sounds horrible, but I just want to throw it out there. This is 7, 8, 9 times a night that a girl is being sold. So you can imagine what that does to her mentality, the mental psyche that these girls deal with, once Face of Justice gets them and is going through this process of healing. It's a lot for these girls to go through. And the other thing that we're seeing, Tyler, that I want to throw out and get this message out is, this is mind-boggling, but there's 300,000 men from the United States go to Costa Rica every year just for sex tourism. So they may go down and go on a weekend fishing trip, and they'll get, they'll have a girl, that they pay for and take them on that trip with them, or it looks a lot of different ways in that. But what these guys need to understand, and maybe they do and just don't care, I don't know what it is, but man, they're damaging these individual lives and just destroying their lives, because so many of them don't get rescued. We have 18 in the safe house, but there's thousands that need rescued. And if you've seen the statistics, only 1 to 2% of girls in the world ever get rescued out of this.
Say that again.
Form of life. 1 to 2% get rescued out of trafficking. So there's 98% out there that never have that chance.
That's unbelievable. Well, so being that we talked about this yesterday, and so hearing it a second time, I'm still processing a lot of this. But you said the world's biggest brothel is in San Jose.
The largest well-known brothel is in San Jose.
San Jose.
And what I mean by well-known is the advertisement that's put out it's wide open. I don't want to give a lot away, but you can jump on YouTube. And their advertisement's right on there. And you're just mind boggled by what you're sitting there watching these people advertise as to what you can, do in Costa Rica. And heartbreaking in, so many ways.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And the thing that blows my mind, because of all what's going on in our culture and what people are talking about, and how we're seeing Save the Children, Save Our Children, Pizzagate, all of these things, just to San Jose, you said 300,000 men from America, just from America. 300,000 men go from America to just San Jose. That's one town. That's one town. So when you hear these things on the news that they're sharing, and then you've seen it in real life, and you go, this is real. Like, this is actually happening. And that's why I'm glad you're here.
That's a great point to make, Tyler, because we don't see it. It's not like there's a guy jumping out behind every bush trying to, abduct a girl or your own daughter or whatever it is. But it is, I can take you to Costa Rica and you can see this with your own eyes. And it's mind boggling what's going on. And bringing it back to America, it's right here in our own backyard. There's websites out there that will advertise this going on. In fact, it was a thing like Craigslist, get on there and buy whatever, but they were openly trafficking girls through that. It's been shut down now, but it was right here in our own Carbondale, Decatur, Springfield, St. Louis, right here in our own backyard that this kind of thing was going on.
That's just unbelievable that has happened, and it just slips by our radar so much, and you just don't even know about it. So let's jump into what is Face of Justice doing? 300,000 men from America are going to San Jose to this brothel. You've got moms selling their children multiple times a night to pay for food. And so Face of Justice is there rescuing girls to their safe house.
And what Face of Justice does is they have a few different programs. One is they rescue, they have a program for street women that are giving them the opportunity to get out of this lifestyle. This is for older women. So they're teaching them to make bracelets and jewelry and some other programs they have that is being effective. They're actually getting women out of this lifestyle, giving them, hope for something different. They also have a church. So for the last 12 years, they've been going out on the street twice a week, and they're making relationships with the prostitutes that are there, a lot of transgenders, that kind of thing. And just with a cup of coffee and cookies. And they offer that to them. They pray with them. They've been doing it so long, they have a relationship with these individuals. And then every other Sunday night, they have a church, and they're invited to that church. And I've been to it. And it's nothing like we're going to see in 618 area code. Just to be honest, there's transgenders there. There's prostitutes there. Homeless people, all kinds of walks of life that are in this church. It's not a large church, but there's all kinds of walks of life that are at this church. And, it's not a church looking building. It's just in the downtown red light district area. And you stick your head out and look down the streets, and you're just like, there's no hope for these people if it wasn't for this mission. If it wasn't for these people sharing the gospel, there's just nothing out here. So that's what they do. But now back to the safe house. And once they get the girl, and they work through the family services.
So that's, so they get these girls
through the Pawnee, it's called, which is like our DCFS system. So once the report is made that, hey, we think there's this girl being exploited or trafficked, the Pawnee show up. And if that's the case, they get the girl and rescue her, and Face of Justice will get a call and say, this is the situation. And, yes, we can take her. No, we're full, or whatever it is. So once the girl's there, there's a lot of process to it, but it's at that point that they have access, to counseling to work through those issues. They get medical treatment. They have a homeschool education, because a lot of these girls, they get girls from 13 to 18 because that's their life. That's the way Costa Rica does it. You have to take birth to 12 or 13 to 18. So they got 13 to 18-year-old girls. And so a lot of these girls have been ripped out of their home when they were 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And so they didn't get their education. So they start teaching them where they were at their level. They teach them English, because there's a better chance of getting a job down there if you're bilingual, in the tourism areas. And then it's based off a Christian environment. They have the house moms. They have Steve and Elizabeth in there, teaching the scriptures and giving these girls, a hope beyond, hey, we just rescued you, but there's a message of Jesus here that they can cling to.
Which you said earlier, they had 9 baptisms. So it's like, that's awesome to see that happen.
I've got to say, when Steve sent me the video for the first time, I was just like, I'm just bawling my head off, because it's like, all this has come together, and this is our first 9 baptisms that we've had out of the safe house. And that's just, that's what you wanted to see.
So there's a question on here about the trauma. So we talked about this a little bit about how much trauma these girls, what Steve and Elizabeth from Face of Justice, what they're having to work through with these girls. Just tell us a little bit about what is it they're doing? How are they helping these girls through that trauma, and maybe some of what that is?
Some of the trauma, and I don't always know how much detail to go into, so I'm going to keep it fairly vague. But some of the girls come in, and just to be able to function socially is very difficult. Of course, trust is a huge issue with anybody.
Yeah.
Even though this may look like a safe environment,
Mhm.
they're they got barriers up
Yeah.
big time. And some of them harm themselves physically, to get away from the pain that they've experienced emotionally. So they're dealing with all those kind of different things. And, I'm of the nature that, counseling and all that's great, but nothing takes the place of just being loved by somebody that's very sincere and very, very loving and just wants to get into their lives. And they have that.
Yeah.
Then other things they do is they do have some horse therapy that they'll take the girls to once a week.
Cool.
They've got CrossFit that they go to. And what's neat is there's a lot of organizations down like the CrossFit businesses and that stuff that they see what Face of Justice is doing.
Yeah.
So they let them come into their gym and
that's awesome.
Do the CrossFit stuff and stuff like that. And that's just good for anybody. It's just good to try to hone yourself back to, becoming a normal life again.
Yeah. So there's a question that you basically answered it there, but I do want to throw it up from Brittany. It says, do you have any that are hesitant because that's all they've known? How do you tell them that it's okay for them to leave? I'm guessing she's meaning leaving, they got rescued.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. And believe it or not, not every girl wants to be, she doesn't want that lifestyle, but she doesn't necessarily want the environment that we're providing either in a Christian environment, a Christian home. Now there's structure. I mean, imagine the normal teenage kid. They don't want it either.
Yeah.
But this girl has been, out on the streets for a long, long time. And all of a sudden now, so not all of them want that. We have had girls that when they've gotten that chance to run away, they have ran away. We've had other ones that were so mentally abused and scarred that they've had to go to a mental hospital to get some treatment in that way.
Yeah.
So, that does happen because it's just part of what we're involved in.
Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, so recap some of what we talked about. Human trafficking is happening in Costa Rica. Lots of different ways, but Face of Justice is there as basically our form of DCFS called the Pawnee there is rescuing girls. Face of Justice only can take 18 of them because of their safe house. Yeah. But they're helping, number one, provide a spiritual home for these kids to teach them about Jesus, but give them safety, mental health, education, lots of things to help them get back on their feet. So then they turn 18. What happens with with the girls from Face of Justice?
I'm glad you asked that question because that's going to give a little bit of our future goal that we have for Broken Chains. And before I answer that, I want to jump back and just say that Steve and Elizabeth are so awesome in this, and Elizabeth is doing more than just the safe house with the 18 girls. She's actually developing a relationship with the Pawnee and the government, and she is helping make laws stricter for the punishment, for the guys that are trafficking underage girls, and that the laws are going to be stricter, and even for the guys that are the customers, that the laws are going to be stricter so that it's going to try to deter these guys from actually getting involved in this to start off with. So she's working on a much larger level too, in that way. But when the girl turns 18, right now, we did have a home and that Broken Chains was renting, and Steve and Elizabeth were living there, and the 18-year-olds were given the opportunity to go to that home. Okay. Because once they turn 18, by Costa Rican law, they have to leave the house. They can't stay there. So through some safety issues and stuff that happened, we had to leave that home. But now
I can imagine safety issues.
It was really bad, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to go into it.
I'm not going to go into it. Yeah.
But I definitely understand it.
But it was a major safety issue.
Yeah.
Because you got to understand, these guys that have these girls are making a lot of money off these girls.
Yes.
So, you know.
So I want to pause there because you told me this yesterday or the day before we were talking about it. These guys, you know, they can steal a TV,
yeah,
and make $20,
yeah,
or they can sell a girl,
yeah, over and over and over and over.
And
so that's the gangs, and actually that's in the United States with the gangs.
Yeah.
So instead of selling drugs and selling guns, that's a one-time sale. They've learned that they can, you know, get these girls and abuse them and get them underneath their thumb, and they sell them over and over and over and over. It's nothing for a girl to be sold 7, 8, 9 times a night.
Yeah.
So in the States, I've heard as high as $900,000 per girl in any year's time.
Yeah.
So the amount of money that's being made there, you know, these guys don't care. They're evil, and they just don't care about human life other than their own, you know, what they can get out of it. So the safety issue became a thing. So what's happening right now when our girls turn 18 is we're working on our phase 2 for Broken Chains. So Steve and Elizabeth with Face of Justice just received a large sum of money, and they have bought the property. And the next phase is to build a 10,000 square foot home for the safe house, which is going to give us area for more girls. They're going to have green space that they don't have right now. So this is a great opportunity. And so what Broken Chains is going to do is we partner with them. Our next goal is to raise enough money to build a house on this same property, so that when a girl turns 18, she has the ability to go to this house now, and she's still in this safe environment. She still has access to the house mom that she's known for years, but it's going to be a transition home. So they'll be allowed to leave for the day and go have a job and come back and have that safety in that environment. They're still, you know, an 18-year-old, even in a normal situation, a lot of times is not ready to leave, you know. So you can only imagine with the trauma they've had, they're certainly not ready.
Yeah.
So I've talked with Steve and Elizabeth about it, and they're thinking that a lot of the girls are going to need to be like 23, 24 years old before we can finally say, okay, you're ready to go and live on your own and have this. So I'm really excited about that, because this is, you know, God's been leading this thing and changing and opening doors. And so our next phase is going to be to have this house that these girls can, you know, still have that safety net in.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. So, I want to jump into that. Is there are plans, there are things you guys want to do to help with this. So there's people, there's churches watching this, individuals. You know, we've talked about go to Broken Chains, Costa Rica.org. Throw that back up.
Yeah.
But how do we give? What does it look like to give? I mean, like, you know, I think of camp here, so I know what it costs for a kid to go to camp.
Yeah.
But you're talking about 18 girls living in a home. You're wanting to expand that. What does it cost a day? What does it cost to fund this? You know, how can people get involved to give to that?
Yeah, to have the breakdown for the daily cost, I can't tell you right now. I can look into that a little bit and find out, but it is very expensive.
18
if you can imagine just having 18 girls or just 18 people to care for, and the Medicare and the dental and the food and you know, the homeschooling and the electricity and the water and all that stuff that goes with that. Just normal, you know, it costs a lot of money. But on top of that, it's required and needed, but it's required by the government that we have professional counselors in there for the girls that need the professional psychiatrist. That's required. So that gets costly, you know, when you start paying out salaries to take care of these individuals. So what was your full question?
So I guess my question is, you know, I know somebody asked, how can we help? What can we do? So how do we help, you know, with those costs to Face of Justice, to Broken Chains? How do we help?
Excuse me.
You said they've already got the money to build the house.
Yeah.
So what, you know, what do we need now? What do we need to make it
good? The way to go in and help, and what's hurt right now is the Costa Rican government does give so many dollars per girl that we have.
Okay.
It's not enough to provide for them, but they do give so much with no religious restrictions. We can teach the Bible. And what's happened with COVID, though, is that was all based off income, people's taxes. Well, now that's all been shut down. So they got a letter and said, hey, we're cutting you in half. So they've lost about $3,500 a month right now just in that.
Wow.
And that adds up very quickly. Then they lost their teams coming down this summer. So they lost several $1,000s through all that.
Yeah.
But as we grow and expand, more money's needed. I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of times finances is the barrier for doing more.
Yeah.
We have 18 girls. It's not even scratching the surface of the amount of, there's thousands of girls. We could have 100 homes down there and still wouldn't be enough homes, to care for these girls. So you can go to brokenchainscostarica.org and we use PayPal on there, so you can give that way. If you want to give, it's, a recurring amount each month, or if you want to give a one-time donation or whatever you would like to give in that way, it's possible on there. I've also got our address, which is Broken Chains, and the address is on our website. It's 5955 Omega Road in Iuka, 62849. You can give through check. A lot of people still send checks to us.
I want to pause there because I just thought about this. We're mailing and hoping a mission from Iuka to serve in Costa Rica
on Omega Road.
on Omega Road. So I'm a Kid Monday boy. I grew up near you, and so I know where that is. And it's just like you think of little town outside Salem, Illinois, is making a major impact. 9 girls are going to know Jesus. Are going to be in eternity because of
that
because of people giving and partnering.
And that's what Josh says all the time. He says if a couple hicks like me and him can do something, God can use anybody. So
that's awesome.
So it is true.
So I'm just going to put it out there because I think, people want to know, people want to help. Right now, there is a need for Face of Justice, from what I'm hearing, $3,500 a month. As long as COVID lasts, if not longer, basically. I mean, it's right now, Costa Rica, they're facing at least $3,500 a month that Face of Justice that's been taken away, that they need just to recover some lost, not counting other things. So when you give at brokenchainscostarica.org $3,500 a month, that's one of the challenges I know I've been sharing
raising extra money for that, and we've had some good response coming in, not near enough, but we've had some response coming in, which I've been grateful for. And then when you said, hey, let's do this, I was like, this is a God thing. It's like God's got a green light on this thing because, we said, hey, we're building this feeding center, and boom, we got the money. And then we bought the church, and it was like $50,000, and boom, the money was there. And I throw those figures out. We don't have a lot of extra money coming in, trust me. And looking into our future as to what we want to do. When we build this home, the estimate right now is this home's going to cost us about $250,000 to build this home. So that's a future goal. So as people are listening to this and thinking about that, okay, what can I do, or what can my church do, or how can we get involved in this? And I want to come out to the churches and share the video and share what we're doing to the mission teams or the entire church, and get people on board on this because, this is our chance. This is our chance right now to rise up and help these girls that are being traumatized. This is our opportunity.
We have, God has given the nation, the world, maybe even, I don't know, but at least our nation is paying attention. And they're looking and going, there's an injustice that we really knew, but we didn't realize how big it was. So I'm with you. Like, this is the time that we can do something that's going to make a global impact. And
not, and given that way. But as I mentioned a while ago, if you want to come down with us and see with your own eyes, there's that opportunity to do that. So our future goals is building this house. It's, it's going to be a huge fundraiser for us and that, but then we're also going to have the expenses ourselves as Broken Chains, then the food, all that different stuff that's going to be required to care for these girls. So I'm it's been neat to see God, put a green light on this. Like you said, Omega, Illinois. Here we are going to Costa Rica and doing our little part that we can in this.
Yeah. Well, I remember a few years ago when I first heard about it, I'm like, okay, I know Shannon and Josh, these two wild cards. And just to see the last 5 years, how God has moved with you guys and just opened doors. It's just been incredible. So that's awesome. So Broken Chains, CostaRica.org. I want to wrap up by, we hit it a little bit, but there is trafficking going on here.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason people want to watch is, and what they want to hear the story from someone who's seen it and knows a little bit more is, okay, we're talking about Costa Rica. How is it happening here? What do you know of organizations or things around here that's what are we doing here?
Let me point everybody that's watching to a lady named Opal Singleton that's out of California. And she is probably the leading voice on human trafficking in America. She has, it's called Million Kids is her organization. And she has also an online radio program every Saturday, and you can get on the website and see all the archive episodes. But it talks about trafficking in the United States. It gives parents training on, being aware of TikTok and all the social media chat groups out there that you need to be cautious of with your children, and also how trafficking happens in the United States. And I really want to put that out right now.
So what's that website?
Okay.
Or what's the name of that program?
It's called Million Kids.
Just Million Kids.
Yeah, Million Kids. And her name's Opal Singleton. She also has a book out that's called Seduced. She's got a couple books out actually that.
I hope I spelled that right. But
that's what you got on there. Yep, that's it. Yep.
So that's the resource you're talking about.
Million Kids, Opal Singleton. She's probably 60, 70 years old, and she is a spitfire. And she's great to listen to. And if you want to be trained in the dangers of human trafficking in the States and how to watch out with your kids, she's got a couple of books that give parents warning on real life trafficking cases in the United States. Yeah. Because her group also helps, once a child goes missing, they're called and they try to help find those children and get them back to their parents. But here's what I want people to know about trafficking in the United States, because when we think about a pimp, we get this picture of this guy in a fur coat getting out of a limousine. Yeah. And that's not what it is. They're very discreet. So as parents, and what Opal teaches us is, 87% of teenagers sleep with their phone. Wow. So they have their phone in their bedroom, which gives them access to the entire world. It's wide open. So a lot of times what happens is there'll be a 35 or a 40-year-old pedophile or a pimp disguising themselves as a 15 or 16-year-old boy. So here's this 14 or 15-year-old girl in her bedroom. Her parents have no idea what she's doing. She's looking for the right guy, looking for love. She's wanting that attention. And she gets in a group chat with this guy. And he's saying, "Oh man, you look so nice." And he's promising her the world. And the parents are out there, they're yelling at her because she ain't cleaned her room, and she wants all this admiration and she wants this attention. And, as bad as this sounds, and I don't want to be weird with it, but as bad as it sounds, eventually he gets to know her and he asks for a nude photo. She sends the nude photo and he's got her. Yep. Because that's blackmail. He's got the photo now, and then he's going to go. There's a lot of different ways it happens, but he'll go and say, "Okay, now you got to do this, or I'm going to show this photo to your parents." Well, the girl doesn't want her parents to be involved in this. So now she takes the next step. And it happens a lot of different ways like that. I'm just giving one example, but they take the next step, the next step, the next step until they're wrapped up and they're in the trafficking and they're underneath this guy's, authority. Or a lot of times they'll say something like, "Okay, let's meet up." So she's trusted and she thinks this is a 16, 17-year-old boy. It's got his driver's license. Yeah. And he comes and she gets in the car, and all of a sudden I've heard stories where now it's a 35 or 40-year-old and there's another woman in there. There's another guy. And all of a sudden she's being, took off to Florida or somewhere like that, put into trafficking. So we got to be aware of what our kids are watching, you know, the TikTok and all that stuff. And I know I'm probably going to make some kids mad saying this tonight, because it's not all, like I said a while ago, it's not always a guy behind the bush jumping out, but it's there.
Yeah.
It's in these social media rooms. That's how they pick these girls up initially. So we got to be super careful about what our kids are watching, what they're involved in, watching your child's behavior, trying to keep open communication with them, you know, and saying, hey, I'm not going to, maybe the best thing a parent could do tonight is go, if they have a teenage kid, is go, I'm not going to scold you, but have you done this? Or are you talking to somebody you don't know and have never met? Wow. And begin to share the danger of what can happen, you know, because these guys can disguise themselves. Here's something else, Tyler, I want to throw out, you know, while people are listening to this, is, and we say girls a lot of time, guys can get trafficked as well. Yeah. The reason we say girls is because 80% of people that are trafficked are female. Okay. But here's the statistic that people need to hear. 60% are recruited by another female. It's not always the guy. So it's a girl that works for the pimp. And they'll even go into our high schools in America. Very common. And they get to know this girl that's, you know, maybe she doesn't have friends. She's out, whatever it is. And hey, let's go get our nails done. So they're painting the nails. She pays for all that. And then all of a sudden it turns into this friendship, and it turns into, hey, why don't you do this for this guy, and you're going to get paid X amount of dollars. That's how they're doing this. They're getting sucked in so discreetly. And that, as parents, we got to be open and aware as to, you know, what's going on. I had never heard that 60% of the of the girls that are recruited into trafficking, well, 80% of are female. Yeah. But 60% of them that get recruited into trafficking is done so by another female. Wow. Yeah. So, because I think probably from my perspective, what I was thinking about when thinking through this topic is, you do think of a creepy old dude or something. Steals the girl and off they go. At Walmart. And that does happen. Yeah. But it's actually not the way it happens the most. It's the ways that I'm talking about right now, that, you know, these guys move in and they make the girl think that they love them and that they really care about them. That's how it all starts. Yeah. And then it's, hey, I'll give you so much money if you'll do this. And then it moves into, they don't get any money. They're just, now they're forced in. And yeah. Wow. So I'm going to throw back up that resource you mentioned earlier. Opal Singleton, Million Kids. Yeah. She has great resources for parents to learn more about this, what you're talking about. Just again, to fight human trafficking. So with that, I know we've talked a lot. It's been 48 minutes. We said, how long is this going to go? I said, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. But I've really enjoyed this. What's something we haven't hit on that maybe you thought, man, I want to make sure we touch this for parents tonight, touch this for churches. And I wrote a few notes out. I did have the different faces of pimping down, because there is the gang pimping in America that's growing very rapidly, because they're making a lot of money through that. There's also the modeling, though, the massage parlors, where, you know, these girls are hidden behind the scene in a massage parlor or something like that, and being trafficked through that. We got to be careful of that. You know, Epstein was, you know, he's popular right now. Yeah. And I just heard this yesterday. I was doing some research and just heard yesterday that he wasn't making his money off of selling these girls, but he was getting celebrities to come in and taking pictures of these celebrities with other girls. And he might give them like $200 initially. He's going to these real poor areas of the town and recruiting these girls. I'll give you $200 to come in. And, you know, at first it might be to give this guy a massage or whatever it is. And then it turned into a whole lot more. But then he was using the pictures to blackmail the celebrities to buy the pictures back from him. So he was making all of his money off that. I mean, this is evil stuff. It's just mind boggling that people think this way. Yeah. But that's what's going on. Yeah. So I would just, some last thoughts here. I would just, parents need to be aware, like I said a while ago, not every TikTok video is designed to get your kid into trafficking, or there's not always a guy behind every bush, but this is real.
Mm-hmm.
And it is happening. And there is story after story after story that I could tell you tonight of some girl that was on some chat group with some guy and got swept away because she thought it was all innocent and nice.
Do you know a number? Like, I know we talked that statistics you don't really know because so much of this is hidden.
Yeah.
But is there a number of so many people they think or believe is trafficked each year in the U.S.?
In the U.S., I don't know, but I know the latest figure I heard worldwide was there's 23 million children that are being trafficked across the world.
Wow.
And that's been a couple, 3 years back. I'm sure that's grown since then. But also another number to throw out there is trafficking is surpassing, as organized crime, profit-wise, is surpassing drugs and the sale of illegal guns. I mean, that's how this is just exploding in numbers. Because, as Opal Singleton says, this isn't about sex. They're not selling, it's about money.
Yeah.
These guys want to make money, and this is how they can make the most money. So that's, you're dealing with criminals that want to make, a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. So, to close, I just want to give a quick overview, kind of what we've heard so far. Shannon Bopp from Broken Chains Outreach, based out of good old Iuka, Illinois. He's the minister in Salem.
Iuka Pirates.
Shannon and Josh Conley, another minister, and Kim Mundy have been working with this mission called Broken Chains Outreach. They are serving in Costa Rica in three big ways. One is with a team called Face of Justice, who has a safe house. Currently, there's 18 girls that have been rescued out of trafficking that they are helping just to bring back to life, really, and introduce to Christ. They baptized 9 of them, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But then also Broken Chains. They have a kids club, which is a youth group in American terms, but they do a feeding center, teach kids about Jesus, educate them. And then they have a church plant where they're just reaching out as a local church. So what I want to just encourage you to do tonight, if you're watching this, if you heard, I want to throw back up brokenchainscostarica.org. This is the way to get involved. This is the way to learn more. This is the way to connect with Shannon or Josh. You can give financially. We've heard a couple ways tonight that Face of Justice is losing $3,500 a month that they need to help continue their mission to rescue and bring these girls. So that would be a huge way for individuals or churches to partner. And then we talked about some ways that it is happening here in America. There's some ways with Opal Singleton. You can look her up, some resources in that. So Shannon, I want to thank you for your time tonight.
Yeah. Just one last thing I would like to say on that is, that when we talk about the finances, if somebody can give $20 a month, don't let that deter you. Think that's all I'm giving. We have a lot of people give $20 a month.
Yeah.
That adds up. If everybody gives together, if somebody give $100,000, we need that, because we're going to this building program, and that would be awesome. But don't undermine yourself or underestimate, giving 20 a month or 30 or 50 a month, or like I said, if you can bring me into your church and I can speak to the church and just get this word out more, what we're doing this evening.
Exactly.
With Josh and I, it's unique. Josh isn't here tonight with us, but Josh is my co-founder in this, and he's been so huge in this, and just love him to death as well. But neither one of us take a salary. So when the money's given, it's going straight to the street to help these individuals in this. So it's something a little bit unique about our mission right now.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Every dime you give is being used.
Yeah.
For that.
And it takes a lot of work to do what you guys are doing.
It does, yeah.
We talked because you were going to take a mission trip, like we said, through the camp, take students to Costa Rica to serve with you guys. How many trips? 5 years you guys have been doing this. We talked about this.
Yeah, we probably 10 or 11. I'm just going to say 10 or 11.
10 or 11.
I'm going to throw that out.
Yeah, that you've gone down there and spent time there, let alone the church
couple
visits,
building program. We built our feeding center with teams going down, and that was a lot of fun. But it's all concrete and block work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's and it is a lot of work, but God's put that on my heart.
Mm-hmm.
He's called me to it. So the way that is. It's not work. Then it's something you love. It's a mission.
Yeah.
It's a ministry for you. And we love going down. I get to where I start missing Costa Rica. So
yeah,
I'm getting some withdrawals right now. So
no doubt.
Yeah, but I appreciate you giving us this opportunity tonight. It's a really good opportunity for us.
Yeah, I appreciate your time. I hope that people listening will hear this, will find ways to partner with you guys, because I mean you're changing girls' lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just incredible what you guys are doing there. So thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Share this with your church. Share this with friends. Get this word out. People want to know about this right now, and we have a way in Southern Illinois to make an impact globally.
Yeah.
So thank you.
All right. Thanks, Tyler.